Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about life after surgery. I got my gallbladder removed earlier this year and I just thought it'd be helpful for anyone who is looking to get their gallbladder removed, or if you have gallstones, or if you're just curious to know what my attacks were like and just my life after surgery and how I'm doing. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, I have some notes here. I just wanted to make sure I have everything down, and I'm gonna try to not make this a really long video because I can easily get carried away. So I don't even know where to start because this goes back to when I was a child. I mean, 6 or 7, but it's always been a constant battle with me eating food and then feeling a lot of pain afterwards. So starting from the beginning, when I was a kid, every time I ate a meal, I could tell that my food wouldn't digest properly and it would just sit here in my upper chest area and it would be excruciating pain. It felt very uncomfortable. And so one time I just decided to try and force myself to throw up the food. And just to note, I never had a feeling where I was nauseous or I felt sick, where the food just wanted to come out. It was always me forcefully kind of making myself gag to then throw up. And the first time that I tried it, it was actually quite easy because the food wasn't digested anyways. It was just sitting up here. And so when I did, the pain immediately went away. So that actually became a normal thing for me from when I was a kid up to my teenage years until I was an adult. But I would always feel the same symptoms. And it wasn't every single time, but it was very frequent. I remember there was a period where I was throwing up 4 or 5 times a week, and that was just the normal. And that's just something that I thought I had to do, and it was going to be a part of my life for the rest of my life because I didn't ever have any answers, or I never really got it checked out besides when I would visit Korea. I got a few checkups there and the doctors could never find anything. And so I kind of felt hopeless, but then again, I found a solution that worked for me at the time, which was just throwing up my food. And you guys know that is just so unhealthy, especially at the rate that I was doing it. So that's just a little background of how long I've been dealing with gastro issues. It's really been my entire life from when I can remember. And so then I moved to LA in 2010 for school and just to further my career. And I finally had like my own health insurance. I finally came to a point where I'm like, look, I should go to the doctors and get it checked out and see if they can find anything here in America. My neck kind of hurts sitting like this. It's time to readjust. So I was dealing with the same problems that I've had my entire life, but I reached a point where it wasn't only affecting me, it was really affecting everyone around me and everyone in my life. I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with a family member or a friend being sick, but I truly feel like it's the worst thing to see someone you love go through a lot of pain all the time. And I started to realize how it affected everyone. And I felt the responsibility to do something about it. I had countless talks with my sister Robin, and it just frustrated her that I didn't want to take care of myself when it does affect everyone around me. And I think a part of me wasn't proactive with trying to get checked out and find answers when I got so used to it, and I just almost felt like I accepted the fact that this was going to be my life forever. So it took a few of those talks for me to get kind of serious about trying to get some tests and work done to see what is going on. So on May 15th, 2017, I was scheduled for an upper endoscopy procedure. And if you guys aren't familiar with endoscopies, it's pretty much where they stick a camera down your throat and they look at all your insides and see what's going on. you are put to sleep when you get that procedure. Excuse me. The procedure went well. I mostly just felt anxious but excited about getting results back because I felt like for the first time, I'm gonna get some answers and we're really gonna figure this out, you know? So on May 26th, I got my results back. I remember I was with my boyfriend at the time and we went into the doctor's office and I'm sitting there. The doctor walks in. He tells me that everything looks fine and that everything came back normal. And I just remember at that moment, I just broke down in front of the doctor. And I'm sure he was a little bit taken back, but I just felt so frustrated that once again, someone is telling me that everything is fine, you're all good, when I knew that something was wrong with me, or else I wouldn't be throwing up my food, 5 times a week. I almost was just yearning for some answers, and even if the answers weren't positive, I'd rather at least know and have someone tell me that something is wrong with me than for someone to tell me that I'm all good. So after that, I was just really discouraged and I went back into the same mentality that I had. And then I went back to my day-to-day life, doing the same old routine that I've been doing, very unhealthy. The doctor did give me this inhaler, which is called, I have it written down, I don't even know how to pronounce this, Advair Discus. It pretty much is an inhaler that has steroids in it, which is supposed to help with inflammation. I was supposed to take 2 puffs of that every single day for 6 weeks and to see if it helped in any way, and did not help at all. And it kind of disturbed me knowing that I'm just inhaling steroids. It wasn't ideal, I was a little freaked out by it, but I gave it a shot. And then besides that, I've taken pantoprazole. I was taking that for, 6 to 7 months. I was supposed to take 1 for breakfast, 1 for dinner. That helped me in no way as well. And then I reached a point where I was just like, I don't want to take any of these medications anymore. I don't want to consume them daily if I'm not feeling better. So I eventually just stopped taking medication, kind of gave up on figuring out what it was that I had, and just continued to live my life in the best way possible. So now I'm going to talk about my first gallbladder attack. Keep in mind, all the stories that I've mentioned prior to this, they were not attacks. They were more just excruciating pain and discomfort that I felt all the time. So moving on, I was in Hong Kong. We were having dinner at our friend's house, and I remember just eating this incredible healthy meal. I start to feel just very strange. It was in my stomach and it started off very faint, but it went from 0 to 100 in like 15 seconds. And it was just so embarrassing at the time because I'm just in mid-convo and I'm talking, and then I'm like, hold on, you guys, like I feel a little bit weird. I was having a gallstone attack, and at the time I didn't know because I didn't know I had gallstones. I just remember like leaning over to the toilet trying to throw up because I thought this was the same as like my indigestion, but it was like that pain times 1,000. I've never felt something like this before. The pain was so bad, I was starting to just sweat, black out. Like I was losing my vision. I just curled into a ball on the floor and I was so scared, but I didn't want to cause a scene as well. So then I go out the bathroom, run into the guest room where we were staying. I was full on just freaking out. I was in so much pain I couldn't even talk. He suggested that we go to the ER, but I just didn't. I was scared because I was in a different country and I didn't know how that would be. And looking back, I definitely should have gone. But the attack lasted for it was on and off for 30 minutes. It's insane because the pain will be so strong and then out of nowhere, it would just go away. It was crazy. Thankfully, it subsided. So now I'm back in LA. I never forgot about that experience in Hong Kong and was praying that it would never happen again. But of course, it happened again. And in LA, I honestly can't remember how many attacks I've had in total. I want to say about 5 to 7 attacks in Los Angeles. There was another time when I went camping with Whaley and Wall, Andy, a bunch of our friends, and I had an attack while camping. It was late at night and we were sitting by the campfire. And at this point, all my friends know, they're all very much aware of just the state of my health, you know? So I remember we're camping and we're all sitting around the campfire, and Whaley is beside me. She knows everything that I've gone through. But she's never been with me when I had an actual attack. She's only heard about it. But I look at her because she had her van. She brought her van camping. And I just looked at her and I told her that we need to go to her van right now because I'm about to have a gallbladder attack or gallstone attack, whichever you want to call it. And she just like acts immediately. Whaley's so great with that. I mean, she's just, first off, just an amazing friend, but in those situations, she just knows how to move efficiently and kind of say the right things. And she's just 100% fully engaged there, ready to help me. And I mean, for that, I'm just so grateful. But when I told her, she took me to her van, and immediately I'm like screaming in this van, you guys, and all of the guys and our friends were outside and they could hear what was going on. And it was a horrible, horrible attack. That attack was by far the longest when I'm talking duration. It felt like an eternity. It just wouldn't go away. And the worst part was knowing that I'm in the middle of the desert and no one really can help me, you know? It was a scary feeling. Andy and Wah got in their car and drove to the nearest pharmacy, which was really far, and they had to grab me some medication and something that could make me drowsy so I could sleep it off. And it was just a whole thing. It was very inconvenient, and I felt horrible that this amazing trip kind of took a 360 turn. And I already hate feeling like I'm a burden, and then when something like this happens and all the attention has to be on you, it was just, I felt really bad, but I was also really grateful that my friends were there for me, you know? After the camping attack, I had one final attack in my home to the point where I had to be taken to the emergency room. And that is a turning point for all of this. The doctor who was taking care of me came in and told me that I had gallstones, and that was probably what was causing these attacks, because in the ultrasound there was a gallstone kind of blocking my bile duct, and that's when there is a lot of pain from the attack. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, first off, what's my gallbladder and what are these stones in my gallbladder? I didn't know. I never heard of this. I wasn't familiar with this. I didn't know what this meant. But for the first time, I finally got some answers. And it's interesting because all these endoscopies that I've had in the past never showed that I have gallstones, but it wasn't until I went to the emergency room and they did an ultrasound, and that's where they saw the gallstones. So the doctor there referred me to a specialist. They did confirm that I have gallstones, and they recommended that I got surgery and got my entire gallbladder removed. And for me, at that time, it just sounded very terrifying. I've never had surgery before, and also just the idea of me getting incisions on my stomach, and I don't know. It's kind of vain, but at the time I was just in a different place, and I hated thinking about having scars on my stomach for the rest of my life. Looking back now, I'm like, girl, you crazy. Would have slapped myself and just been like, you better get this procedure done tomorrow. But At the time, I was just so terrified and I was focused on the wrong things than just getting better. A huge part of me being hesitant on the surgery was that the doctors told me that this wouldn't be 100% solution for your attacks or your indigestion pains that you've had your entire life. This is just the first thing we could do to kind of see if it is it, you know? And for me, I think I've just been through so much with all of this that I just wanted some definite answers on if this would help me or not. If it doesn't, then I don't want to do it, you know? But that's just not the way it works, especially if you're trying to figure out what is wrong with you. You'll have a list of things that could be wrong, and it's just about like process of elimination. If I was to get the surgery and I still had the attacks, then at least we know it's not the gallstones or not the gallbladder, and you got to move on to the next thing in the list. But you have to have patience. And that was just something I didn't have. And so I opted not to do the surgery, dealt with it for a whole nother year. And then 2019 hit, and I probably had an attack, and I reached the point where I was like, when are you gonna get better, Sophie? Like, when are you going to just forget about how you'll look or what if it doesn't work and just go for it? Because at this point you have nothing to lose and you're miserable. I don't know, 2019 was just a year of transition for me, and I wanted to go into this year knowing that I tried my everything and be healthy again and live a normal life. So it was February 15th of this year where I had my first consultation. So now I want to go over the procedure that I got. It is the laparoscopic procedure. And that is pretty much when they do incisions on the abdomen, and they're very small incisions. They stick like a camera in there. So it's not an open surgery where they cut you up, but you are left with a few incisions. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. They're quite small, but they're there, you know. On March 4th, I had the procedure done. I have a whole video on that experience. I'll link it down below. It was pretty rough, not gonna lie. I went into it doing a lot of research, seeing a lot of other stories and people telling their journey about getting their gallbladder removed, and it just seemed pretty easy. No one warned me about, you know, how bad it could get. And overall, the procedure was fine. The doctors did an incredible job. They said everything went smooth. It was just the aftermath of the procedure where I was just in so much pain, and I'm not going to go into that so much because you can watch the video to see. I kind of talk about it. The medication that I was on wasn't strong enough, and the side effects of the medication, which is constipation, that shit sucks. Like, it really sucks because I couldn't go to the bathroom for days, and it was just really painful once I did. But it does hurt to eat, to laugh. Like, you cannot be around friends that make you laugh because it hurts your stomach so bad, because when you're laughing, it's all connected here, you know? And so I remember Whaley had to take me back to the doctors 2 days after the surgery because I just wasn't feeling great and I needed more medicine, stronger medicine. And Whaley was making me laugh, and I just had to tell her, like, please don't do it. Like, it really hurts. So just be mindful of that if you are going to get the procedure done. Stay away from friends that make you laugh. Like, they need to have serious faces, okay? But I was really happy that it was over with. I think I was just dealing with a lot of sadness and depression just because my life at the time wasn't so great, and I would look at my stomach and it was just bloated. I was looking at my scars, and the scar on my belly button, which is the one that is the least noticeable now, it looked so bad. Like, my belly button looked kind of shut, and I just didn't know what it would look like afterwards. And so that just kind of made me upset. My throat really hurt from that tube that went down my throat during surgery. I had like a swollen lip because I had a reaction to the tube. The antiseptic that was all over my stomach, I had an allergic reaction to, so I had hives everywhere. Okay, so now moving on to life after my surgery. It's been about 8 months since my surgery. I have a few questions that you guys asked me in my gallbladder experience video. Someone asked how long it took to recover. It took about 2 weeks. By week 2, I was taking short walks with my dogs just to get a little bit of exercise. By week 3, I was in no more pain, back to normal, not constipated, not bloated, none of that. Finally saw the light at week 3. Someone asked about my scars, which I kind of briefly went over. Let me see if I can show you. Here are 3 of my scars. It's like kind of like connecting the dots. And there's a scar in my belly button, but you can't see. But these are my scars. I don't know if they'll disappear any more than this, but I'm totally fine with them. I'm happy about it. If anything, now I look at my scars and they tell a story, okay? For me, they represent a girl who's been struggling her entire life to just live a normal life and have a healthy relationship with food. And now I'm just thriving. I want to talk to you about how I'm feeling now and what my life has been like without a gallbladder. I am doing incredibly well. I have never felt healthier. Remember I told you guys that the doctors said even with me getting this surgery, there is a chance that I could still have these attacks or I could still have that upper chest pain. Well, after this surgery, all of that went out the door. It completely cured not only my gallbladder attacks, but the pain that I've been dealing with since I was 7 years old. It completely got rid of that. And it's so strange to me because a lot of doctors told me those are 2 different things, but wow, like it just cured everything. I have been pain-free since the surgery. I have never been healthier, and it's inspired me to just be good to my body. You guys know I've joined CrossFit this year. It's played such a huge part of this growth and change on wanting to make fitness a priority and just my diet. You have to go through these kind of experiences to really appreciate times like this. Because had I not been in a situation where I struggled with gastro problems my entire life, I wouldn't feel as grateful as I do now. And I really don't take any of this for granted. Like there's not a day where I don't think about how lucky I am to live a normal life. So for any of you guys wondering, that's where I'm at currently right now. Getting my gallbladder removed was probably the best thing that I could ever do for myself. And like I said, I'm left with these scars and I'm totally fine with them now. I can't even believe that I was tripping so hard about it before. But it's like, would you rather have no scars but deal with all of these problems for the rest of your life, or have a few scars and be pain-free? And I totally think it's like this. I hope this answers any of your questions. I guess I would like to end this video with, I just want to let anyone out there who's going through a similar experience know that patience is key. And even for me, if this surgery wasn't the answer, I wouldn't give up and I would have kept pushing, truly, because there is no greater feeling than trying to overcome a sickness or illness that you have just so that you can live a better life. I hope that anyone else who has been dealing with some sort of pain or ongoing chronic illness, then I hope that you're able to put work into yourself and put in the effort to constantly finding solutions or finding answers that you need. And again, it's about the process of elimination. You may have 20 things on that list and you may have to go through 19 of those and the last one could be it. But you'll never know unless you try, and that's the lesson that I've learned with anything in life. And so just don't give up, keep having faith. I really hope that whatever it is that you're struggling with, that you'll be able to find a cure. That's my message to you. And on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was a little bit helpful to any of you out there. And if not, thank you for just listening and hearing my story. I am gonna go now, but thank you so much for all your support. I love you guys. Keep your head up, and I will see you soon. Bye.